Synergist Media Production.
Two geniuses.
I read 7 books of the Bible in one day.
Craving your attention.
I want you to love us.
Bringing you humor.
Because we are funny.
Reminding you who you are.
I believe this generation can be a generation of Davids answering the call.
Honesty.
Listen, Rover, you're fat.
A voice for a generation.
They stepped up when the time was needed.
This is The Gist.
That's right, you heard it correct. This is The Gist, and it is I, the Chancellor, Caleb Betterton himself. And man, it is good to be back on the mic, talking to y'all, all the fans of The Gist, and got a good show today. So today, actually, I went out and kind of went on an adventure. And on this adventure, I've been kind of reading some different books, listening to audiobooks, and one of the audiobooks I listened to was the kind of plot. The story was about this this book collector and collecting books and stuff like that. And so that got my attention, and I'm like, that's interesting. I want to try and see what this book collecting life is all about. But here's the thing. I don't want to spend a ton of money doing this because, one, I don't have a ton of money, and two, I want to figure it out first before I start investing more money into something like book collecting, because it is a little bit hard to get into. And so I go on old trusty eBay, and I look for first edition books. I think it's what I search for, and I find different ones. Of course, most of them are like $500+ and I start kind of going through different authors. I ended up on Beatrix Potter. For those who don't know, she wrote Peter Rabbit. It was if you don't know what that is, it's an amazing kids book from way back in the day, like early 1900s back in the day. And like the Peter Rabbit book itself is like worth well over $1,000 easy. And so that book's like way up there. But I was like, what's some other books she has? Maybe first edition books I can find. And I found The Tale of Mrs. Tiggy Wiggle. And there was a lot of books about those books, but most of them were still around $75+. So I'm like, I don't want to spend $75+. But then I found one on eBay that looked like it could be potentially one of those first editions, but it was only $15. So I'm like, it's probably not, but it's $15. It's not too bad if I lose it. I'm gonna get money off this thing. If whatever, it's $15. I'll take the loss. I'll try it out. I just want to kind of go through this experience, and so I did. I sat down. I bought it. Came in today, and so today I went out to try to get it verified. As far as, is it a first edition? Is it worth anything beyond $15? Is it less than $15? Did I win or lose on this buy? And it's a cool looking book. And honestly, I may have kept it anyway because it's kind of antique looking. It's cool. First try, add to my collection. And so I call around, try to find stuff on the internet. And with the internet looking for a first edition book by Beatrice Potter is they're kind of hard to identify if they're first edition or not. The way the publisher did things is not like most books where you can kind of identify it pretty fast. With this one, it's kind of hard to identify. So I called a few places around the OKC area. Most of them can do anything. Went to 2 different stores. And again, adventure here is kind of cool. Like, might have, money here. Or I could have, a flop here. Who knows? So I go to the first place, and they can't 100% identify if it's a first edition or not. But they offer me more than I paid for it. They say, if we think it might be a first edition, we'll give you this much money. And I'm like, okay. Interesting. But I really want to try to figure out if this is a first edition or not. So I go to a different place, and they're kind of like the first person. They really couldn't identify if it is or not. They didn't think it was. So I'm kind of at a point where I'm not sure what I have. So I may take the first offer and make some money off of it and just go with it, or I may keep it because $15. My first one, little memento for my start of my book collecting career or hobby, some would say. But I've been going through a lot of different books, of collectors' books, so that it's pretty crazy how much a book can be worth for a first edition of some of these authors out there. So feel for something to get involved with. Might go into some book collecting, but hopefully I'll try to keep you updated if I do any more books. Depends if I find any more cheap ones. Again, I'm probably not spending very much money right now on first edition books, but just getting started, trying out a little fun hobby and something new in my life, for sure. But coming up next, I have I was mind boggled. I was mind blown. I was all those, words there about a certain delicious treat that all of us love so much. And yeah, stay tuned for that for sure.
The Gist. You're listening to The Gist. Entertain but challenge.
So I went on down this rabbit hole the other day, and I checked the news app on my phone quite a bit and read the news semi-often. And of course, sometimes I read real news, sometimes there's like the fun articles there. And I came across one of the fun articles the other day, and it was about the 15 best Reese's candy varieties ranked worst to best. And I was like, bet, this is up my alley. I love Reese's. I'm checking this out. This is for me. Let's see what they say. They got me. They clickbaited me into it, and here we are today with me going through it. But as I read this trash, honestly, I was enraged, to say the least. I was annoyed. I was ticked off. I was a little bothered by this person's list, and especially as I went on to this article. So coming in at number 15, and this is what really fired me up right off the bat. This got my blood going because this is their 15. This is like top 5 for me easy. Maybe number 1, honestly. Maybe number 1. But for 15 for them, it was the white chocolate thins. And man, I love the white chocolate thins of Reese's. You want to have birthday's coming up here in July? Or Valentine's Day? Hey, Valentine's Day's coming up. Get Valentine's Day. You want to, show your support and love for me personally? Give me some of those white chocolate thins. They are delicious. But 15 for them, and they're like, okay, here's the thing. First off, their first sentence here on number 15, white chocolate thins, is why would anyone willingly eat white chocolate? Okay, first of all, really? Are you kidding me right now? White chocolate. Listen, I love all kinds of chocolate. I love milk chocolate, dark chocolate. And I get white chocolate technically isn't real chocolate. I understand that argument. But here's the thing. White chocolate is delicious. Cookies and cream, anything white chocolate is so good. And it's so sweet. It's delicious. It's awesome. And they're already attacking one of the great things out there. And they go through a few more. Some of them, whatever, I don't have a big opinion on. They had, number 14 was the Caramel Big Cup. Don't have much of an opinion on that one. And I'm going through these, looking at this. And so far, I don't have a huge problem with this. But number 11 comes in. And it's the dark chocolate thins. And again, what do you have against the thins? Like, they're so good. And the dark chocolate ones are so good too. But they're like, this is not real dark chocolate, blah, blah, blah. Shut up. Forgive me, but shut up, okay? These are this is the top 10. It's 11. It's close, but it needs to be top 10. White chocolate's top 5, maybe number 1, top 3 for sure. No doubt. But as we get closer and closer to the front, now number 9 is Reese's Pieces. That's a higher up on my list for sure. We get closer and closer to number 1. And as we go closer, I begin to see some I really liked. The regular big cups are number 4. Not bad, not horrible. So I'm thinking, okay, they've already used the ones I like the most. Like the ones, my top 5 is kind of not even on here. So what is number 1? In fact, there's some missing on here I think are top 5 and top great, and they're missing, not even on this list, and I'm kind of mad about that. But number 1 comes in, and I'm blown away because I've had these before, but like once, and I did not like them at all. They were my top favorite ones, number 15, and number 1 is one I don't really like at all, and I'm just confused by this person. And number 1 for them is the Reese's Sticks. And I was like, who in the world thinks the Reese's Sticks are like a top Reese's product, let alone candy out there? And they're going on and on about the Reese's Sticks. And I'm like, this is confusing. What in the world? I'm just in my head trashing them for this. And, in the article it says as well, they don't like sweet stuff. Like, you don't like sweet stuff. Why are you ranking chocolate anyway? If you don't like sweet stuff, get out the candy business, okay? Go rank something else. Go rank something, sour or savory. Don't rank something sweet if you don't like sweet stuff to begin with. So, but you know what? Maybe I'm crazy, but I doubt it. So I'm like, I asked one of my buddies at work, I said, hey, what's the best Reese's product out there? And I kid you not, their words right out their mouth. And honestly, they might have wrote this article because they said Sticks. And I was like, Stick? What? Really? Like, yeah, so I'm like, I've had it. And it's not that great. They're not for me. White chocolate's so much better. And the other ones that didn't mention, the Big Cup, Reese's Pieces cups, all the ones that are so, so good. Reese's Pieces, all these ones are so, so good. Yet, you're putting sticks at number one. And so maybe I'm just crazy. I don't know. I'm not sure what to believe anymore. Am I, just so blinded by my own prejudice and bias that I think the Reese's sticks aren't that great? Do y'all think the Reese's sticks are that good? Have you had them? Let me know, because I'm genuinely confused right now. First I was angry, now I'm confused. Maybe I'm the one who's wrong. Maybe I'm the one who needs to look in the mirror and say, Caleb, you are wrong. The sticks are the best Reese's product out there. The sticks are up there. The sticks are great. Because I don't think the sticks are great. I think they're very, very mid to low tier, if you ask me. And so let me know in the review section of the podcast, what's the best Reese's product? And are sticks legit? Because I don't think they're legit. I think they're trash. Let me know, leave a 5-star review, and leave that review, put in that review what you think about this, because I need to know which product is the best. Because frankly, I'm very, very befuddled, confused, and a little disturbed. So, I don't know. I don't know anymore. My life has been destroyed from this whole moment and experience. So, let me know in the review section which is better, what's best, are the sticks legit? I say no. But what do you say? What do y'all say? It's up to y'all. Let me know. Am I crazy about this topic? Not everything, because people know I'm crazy about other stuff. But about this topic, am I crazy? So let me know. Coming up next, we have our take. Let's hit it.
The Gist. You're listening to The Gist. Entertain but challenge.
Alrighty. We're back with the conversation and or take, whatever you want to call this. And my thought today is, what are you consuming? Now, we just got off about me going off about Reese's products, and let's be honest here, I probably shouldn't be consuming as much Reese's products as I do. I probably definitely consume way too many Reese's products, but probably shouldn't be consuming those. But besides from food, when it comes to life, when it comes to your spiritual health, your mental health, we're going to put aside physical health today, but from a mental health and spiritual health standpoint, what are you consuming? What are you consuming? It's the beginning of the year. Well, it's past the beginning of the year, and I think it's like day 10 or 12 of January where most people fall off the wagon on their resolutions, on their goals, on that stuff. It's kind of when they fall off the wagon. It's like day 10 or 12, and we're past that. So maybe you have fallen off the wagon at this point. I don't know. I'm kind of just not getting on the wagon, for being honest here. But if you have fallen off the wagon, today's the day to get back on the wagon and kind of shake yourself and look at what you're consuming. And of course, when you think of this topic, it's like there's all the instant basic reactions, what are you watching, what are you listening to, what are you reading, whatever. You can fill in the topic, the social media, not social media, whatever it is you're consuming, it's what are you putting inside of you? And that question is something that I think we know the answer to that, right? What we should and shouldn't. It's kind of a topic people talk about a lot. We've talked about it a lot in the podcast. It's something that we kind of know the answer. We know that what food's unhealthy, what food's not unhealthy, but yet sometimes we choose to eat it anyway. But sometimes we think, okay, today is the day I'm going to quit social media. I'm going to quit this book. I'm going to quit watching this stuff. I'm going to quit doing this thing, consuming this item that I know is not helping me out spiritually, not helping me out mentally. I know the facts here, and I'm quitting. And you do it. But sometimes, back to our January 10th, 12th day, there comes a point where suddenly it's like, oh my goodness, I have totally jumped off the wagon. I am no longer on the wagon of I'm eating healthy. I'm consuming good things. I have kind of lost all momentum and I'm gone. But what happened to cause you to lose momentum? And so sometimes, I'm a very picky eater personally, and a very, very picky eater. I do not like a lot of foods. And so for me, it's hard for me to be even healthy in my own circle of what I try to be healthy with, because I don't like a lot of healthy foods. And so it's harder for me to figure out the things that I want to eat, what I want to be healthy with, and try to really follow those rules. And so sometimes it's often not me this jumping off the wagon 100%. It's like me, I see it first, right? That looks good. That smells good. I know it's going to taste good, so here I come. And so you find yourself, you may not be consuming it yet, but it's been a minute since you've had it. And we all know what cravings are like. We've all been there. It's like midnight and McDonald's is calling my name. I got to go. Get those fries. Get those McDoubles. I'm going there. But I probably should not be eating McDonald's. But yeah, I see that ad. I've been to think about those fries and the taste. And oh, man, now my body's like, I need that. Now, my body doesn't need that. And I probably shouldn't eat that. But in that moment, I'm like, I gotta get a hold of it. And so that's how it is sometimes when it comes to us trying to quit consuming things we know we should quit consuming, is we go for a time of, we got this. And then to a moment of like, one night is midnight, you're hungry, ain't much open, and you start thinking about them fries. The greasiness. I'm going to make some of y'all lose your diets right now. I'm sorry, forgive me. But you're going to lose them today because of me. But it's okay. Get back on track after today. Saltiness, the fry, the crunch, the burgers grilling. You can smell it, you can taste it. It's like, oh yeah, this is what I need right now. And then you eat it, and the next morning you feel fat because you've been fat. And so now you're, oh man, I messed up. But then you're like, I want more. And so you keep on consuming it, and you find yourself back into that loop of, man, I'm consuming the things I don't want to consume anymore. I'm consuming things that I know I should not be consuming. And it's like this in our spiritual walk with God. We find ourselves falling back into that trap of, because what did we do? We begin to dwell on that thing. We let that first thought of, like, oh, that was so good. And we keep on thinking about how good it was. We don't think about the fact that we're having diarrhea at 3 a.m. afterwards. That's not me, guys, somebody else. That's not a true story. That's someone else's story. But you know what I'm saying. You find yourself wondering, what the regret hits you afterwards. But you don't think about the regret going up to it. You think about how it was good for you, how it tasted good, how it was satisfying in that moment. But later on, you realize, man, yeah, my belly is getting a little big. I'm getting a little carnal. My mental health is a little bit frazzled recently. I'm anxious. I'm stressed. Why? Because you've been consuming things you know you shouldn't have consumed, and you maybe gave up at one point, but now you're at a place where it's like, I'm back. And you know you're wrong. I don't have to tell you what is right or wrong. You know what's right. You know what's wrong. But it's in those moments of you get weak. It's day 10 or 12 of January, and the goal is no longer a goal. It's been broken. It's kind of been forgotten about. And so today is my challenge to you, my encouragement to you to remember the goal. Remember the thing you're going after. Remember the thing you need to overcome. Remember what you should be consuming and what you should not be consuming. Because right now is a day where we're in the January, and your Bible reading plan may no longer be caught up. And you're thinking, is it worth doing still? You're frustrated. You're behind. You're like, oh my goodness, here I go again. I did it last year. This year, I cannot overcome this. And you can get back to a place where you overcome it and you dominate it and you achieve what you need to achieve. But you have to decide for yourself, you're going to do it. You have to make up your mind, I'm going to accomplish it. And so this is where boundaries come in. Placing boundaries in your life to help you navigate what you need to navigate. And when I say boundaries, people probably have things you go to in your mind instantly. And there's a lot of things you can have boundaries on for your life. And there's a lot of different kinds of boundaries. When you're dating in the church, in general, there should be boundaries in your relationship. And those boundaries aren't to hurt you, to keep you safe, to help you. And we all know this, again. But sometimes it's hard to kind of put the boundaries down. It's kind of hard to lay down those boundaries. It's kind of hard to build up those boundaries because we don't want to. Again, there's that craving that comes on us. We smell it. We think about it. Like, I want that. I need that. And we know we don't. But yet, we still let it control us. And so, putting up good boundaries in your life is important. Because what boundaries actually do is they save you from regret later on. And sometimes we're okay when we set the boundary, but when somebody else set the boundary for us, it's a little bit harder to follow. Because like, really? Why is that the boundary? I want to push the boundary. We want to push past the boundary. And sometimes as a young person, and an old person too probably, I don't know, I'm getting older, but I'm not old yet. No offense, older people, I love you. You know what I'm saying here. It can still be hard to follow the boundaries someone else set for you. And we may not understand the boundary. It may not make sense to us. Why is this even here? Why is this a rule? But the truth of the matter is, That boundary is there to protect us, but yet we can see what it's keeping us from. It smells good. It looks good. It tastes good. But yet, that boundary's there. And we know we shouldn't eat it. We shouldn't go after it, but we want to go after it. But boundaries save you from regret. Look back at my dating relationship with my wife and the boundaries we set together for our relationship. And I remember a pastor giving us some advice on setting boundaries. He said, make sure the boundary isn't sin. Don't set the boundary at sin. Set it further back from sin, because if you do cross the boundary, you haven't crossed the line into sin. You still have a peace there. You still have no regrets there because you set the line far enough back to where, you may have broken it, but you still have your purity. You still have your holiness. You're still doing the right thing. There's not a regret there. And I thank God he gave us that advice, because I look back at a relationship and going into marriage, and in our marriage, going into marriage, I have no regrets about a relationship because there were boundaries there. And that's one example of boundaries, but those boundaries can go into other areas of life as well. And you got to have boundaries that are far enough back that they're not at the line of consuming what you shouldn't consume. It's got to be further back from that. So if you do cross it, because guess what? You might cross it. It's human nature. It happens. There's weak moments. There's times in your life where you want to push the boundaries. But if the boundary is far enough back, to if you break it, you might catch yourself and say, hey, that was too far, but I didn't go too far. I'm okay. Let's get back up. Let's reestablish that boundary and get back on the right track. Because boundaries help you not consume things you don't want to consume. Help you overcome things. Help you live a life of no regrets. Not no regrets, as the famous tattoo says. If you don't know what I'm talking about, there's a meme with this guy who has no regrets tattooed on his chest. And he meant to say no regrets, but he couldn't spell, so it's a little embarrassing for him. But we can't live that kind of life, because the boundaries help us live a good and godly and mentally healthy and honestly any type of life you want to live. It can apply to, but the boundaries are so important to put into your life to protect you. And so I want to challenge you right now as we get later on into the early part of the year, that whatever you've kind of let fallen away, or you've put back into your life that you want to get out of your life, or you've lost the thing you've started to do in your life, to today pick it back up, reestablish a boundary, and get back on track to achieving your goals, achieving your purpose, being everything God's called you to be, because you may have failed the mark on day 10, day 12, but it's time to get back up on day 25, 26, 27, whatever day it is you're listening to this podcast, because you can do it. Just get back up and push for it again. Get back up and push for it again. It's getting back up, setting a boundary, walking the line, and moving forward. And when you mess up, you shake it off, get back up, and push forward, because you can do great things. All right, guys. Coming next, we're going to wrap this whole entire show up. Let's get it.
You're listening to The Gist.
All right, guys. You heard it. We're listening to The Gist. As The Gist comes to a close, it is closing time. But it's time for you to challenge yourself. Coming up in February here. And to kind of help us out with picking up our boundaries again, picking up the things we want to pick back up, putting back off the things we want to put back off. Watch what we consume. I want to challenge you to a 30-day challenge. It can be whatever you want it to be. You can make the rules for your 30-day challenge. For me, it actually is health. I'm trying to get a little more healthy. Get back in shape a little bit more, because I have not been on the wagon there. Get some more sleep. Drink some more water. And so I have a list of things I want to accomplish for my 30-day challenge. However, you can challenge yourself how you want to challenge yourself. And it could be with food. It could be with Bible reading plan. It could be with a prayer list. It could be with book reading. It could be with starting that podcast, that project, that whatever it is you need to start. But make yourself a new challenge. The end of January is here. And you drop some stuff. Well, February 1st, let's get back on those things and do it. And let me know what your challenge is. Let's be a community. Let's keep ourselves accountable to each other. And some news about the podcast. You're kind of wondering, where's Heidi? Where's Vero? We have tried to plan a few things. We had a Christmas podcast recorded. It just didn't go quite as planned, so we didn't publish it or upload it. We're going to be meeting together here pretty soon in February to upload a podcast, all three of us together. So it should be out sometime in February. We are still doing stuff. But hopefully we get some more of these kind of Caleb takes as well mixed in. Hopefully we can bring you more content this year. I want to try to get back to posting almost weekly. We'll see what happens. Kind of get back on track after, the wedding and Christmas and holidays and church stuff and all this fun stuff and life stuff. But I do have some big news. Not today. But it's coming up, and it's exciting news for me. It's some personal news, and no one's pregnant or anything like that, so calm down. It's not that, but some personal news, some exciting news that I have coming up soon, sometime this year. I don't want to say what it is yet, but I'm dropping some hints now. It could affect you as well. Interesting, right? So stay tuned. This has been the Chancellor, Caleb Betterton. Don't forget to entertain but challenge this generation, and remember, God's called you and loves you, and you can be the best you can be. Just follow His plan, follow His ways, and find your purpose and your place. Bye.